everybody. Welcome to our show. It's the Abby Award winning Vital Show. We're live here on Facebook already. We're about to be live on your radio in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Oh my God.
I like that. Hey. It's V949 WATV. I am Lady Wu. Welcome to the show. It's Vital, baby. Yeah, my crew in the building, guys. Introduce yourselves.
It's your boy Ready Eddie.
Sir said the right hand man.
The marvelous Marlicia.
And your girl Christine Lee.
There's somebody else on there too. Willie D down there at the bottom of the screen. Shouts out to everybody in our virtual studio. All of you who are watching, welcome. I see them numbers. There you are. Those numbers are rising. Keep coming in the studio, the virtual studio. You are welcome here. So come on through and kick it with us. We have a big show for you tonight. A lot of guests. It's been a minute since we've had in studio guests. Are you guys excited about that?
Yes.
I'm excited to be back in the studio.
I know, right?
I know, right?
Hopefully, I'll be here next week too, but we'll see.
Next week is going to be a big week. That's the Sunday before the election.
Sunday before I get sworn in, Sunday before, just like a lot. I want to be here for y'all, but hey, listen, my apologies ahead. After November 3rd, I'm back.
We might be where you are that week. So, yeah, we'll just talk about it later.
Yeah.
As for right now, we're all here. I'm so happy. Look at the virtual studio. That thing is cute. Hey, everybody. Y'all, so look, we want to get straight to the show because we have 2 hours of power. So the first half of our show goes to the crew and whatever we have going on, features and topics and news, just everything that has happened. It's been a big week. I think every week since March has been a big week. But we're gonna go ahead and go straight to Ready Eddie within the black of my mind, his mind, my mind, in the black of Eddie's mind. Go ahead.
All right. In the black of my mind, this is where I am as a black man during election time. There's no evidence that Trump will do anything for blackness. Not only is there no evidence that he will do anything for blackness, but there's a long-standing history of anti-blackness connected to Trump's name. There's no evidence that Joe Biden would do anything for blackness, but he doesn't have a long-standing history of anti-blackness. We can point to the 94 crime bill, which deserves a ton of criticism, but at worst, seems like legislation that didn't consider what it could put. Things are potentially even. I ask myself, which party has the best foundation for building on to the benefit of blackness? if Trump is a placeholder for who can help blackness in the Republican Party, and Biden is a placeholder for who can help blackness in the Democrat Party, which platform is built for somebody to help blackness? And at the end of the day, it's just not the Republican Party. The Republican Party is steeped in legislation that has helped destroy the black community as well as maintain that destruction. The Democrat Party, while it hasn't done any more than the Republican Party for the black community, has legislation and legislators that represent the black community through their blackness, are writing legislation that will help the black community, and only needs leadership that represents the changes that the black community needs. That leader that will be in charge of that change may very well not be Joe Biden. But as I said last week, the Bidens, Trumps, McConnells, Pelosi's, all of them, they're going to be dead in the next 10 to 15. And we need who we need there. And the Democrat Party is set up for turning it into what we need it to be. If you want to have a conversation about that, hit me at In the Black of My Mind on Instagram.
Bruh. What do
need-
you say?
Hey, we need
He
one
said they're gonna be dead.
Bruh,
Hey, we need something like Joey Lawrence from Blossom. We need that. Whoa.
That's what he look. It didn't stand out. Like I said, they're gonna be dead.
They'll be dead.
I mean, that's the reality, right?
It is the reality.
It is.
Not only
They
is it-
old.
Look, I'm sorry, they gotta go.
So
They gotta go. For
yeah.
progress for us, they gotta go.
So we are looking at progress, and you made some points about, November 3rd is almost here. We've dwindled down to who is going to be, one or the other. There's no somebody else is going to jump in and say, well, yeah, I'm going to, no, it's Biden or Trump. And I think that we're very clear on who it should be. And I'm just wondering if everybody's understanding what you said. That's the McConnells, the Pelosi's, who else?
Pelosi, Graham, McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Biden, Trump, all of them
They
over
all-
70.
They
Old
are
school,
all over
yeah.
70.
Well, not over 70, but between 6, but in 10, 15, they either gonna be
They-
gone
they-
They're at least at the age of retirement.
yeah,
Right.
they up there.
So with that being said, Eddie, sum it up. What is like deep off in your cerebellum about this whole situation and what November 3rd has to bring forth?
So I think this is the current problem. The current problem is that we seeing Ice Cube, we're seeing 50 Cent, we're seeing all of these people jump out there, even Charlemagne talking about, hey, at least Trump is reaching out to a black male, or, we need to be at the table, we need to talk. And I'm afraid that they're painting two different pictures of what the problem is.
They are.
They're looking at the Democrat Party having 10% worth of a problem and the Republican Party having 90% of a problem, and saying that they're equal because problems exist on both sides. As it pertains to blackness, the Republican Party is consistently maintaining that destruction that our community has been participating in. And I think that if Biden is, at best, Biden's going to be a placeholder. And if he's going to be a placeholder, then we need to put faith in these grassroots movements that are coming up. When you're talking about Cori Bush, when you're talking about AOC, like the Democratic Party is changing to something that looks younger, that looks blacker, and that looks like it will benefit us better if you pay attention to all of those seats that are getting flipped.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just something I want to add to it. I think so. The conversation that Ice Cube and Charlemagne are having about wanting to have a seat at the table, bruh. Why you waiting too late in the game to want to have a seat at the table?
Yeah.
And this conversation should have been had in 2019, early 2019, 2018, as people are announcing that, hey, I'm going to run for president, or I want to run for office of this, that, and the third. That's when you have time. That's when the conversation needs to be had. So for the offense to be, well, he's running for president now, and he doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't want to invite me to the table. They're shunning me to the election is over. But Trump wants to talk right now. Trump has had 4 years to do something for black people. Trump has had 4 years to invite black people to the table. What has he done? When he's invited black people to the table, what do? We criticize those black people. We criticize Jim Brown. We criticize Kanye West. We criticize Ray Lewis, Steve Harvey, and all the other black people that have either worked for him, the ministers that have been a part of it. So now everyone wants to say, oh, well, they're not, the Democrats aren't giving us a seat at the table. Listen, bro, we've been in the Democrats' back pocket for I don't know how many years, and we've never demanded anything or a seat at the table. Now, all of a sudden, we want to do it in the midst of an election after the candidate moving forward has already been selected. That's a little bit late in the game in my opinion. Secondly, I think we give one party too much power. I don't care what Democrats have done historically over the years. What have they done lately? You look at the state of Alabama. What have they done lately? Not saying that Democrats are the answer or Republicans are the answer, but I think we need to leverage capital with both parties. I'm not going to be beholden to one party over the other. I don't support one party over the other. I support people who have my best interests in mind. So if you have my best interests in mind and you're a Republican, you're going to get my vote. If you have my best interests in mind and you're a Democrat, you're going to get my vote. If you have my best interests in mind and you're a part of the Green Party, you're going to get my vote. But for us to say, well, we're going to roll with the Democrats because they this, and the third, we're giving up political leverage. So why should Republicans have to cater to us when they're saying you aren't for us? You're
Welcome
saying
back,
the party
Sir
is
Sid.
for the Democrat Party is your party, and that's who's taking care of you. So why should they be responsible for helping us or being able to move us forward as a community when we're not giving them the credit or benefit of the doubt or the opportunity to help us?
A lot said there. So that's very that's the other side of the coin from where we were last week when we had the conversation about having that seat at the table and having those conversations and what we go, what we talk, what are we asking. Um, very different side, Eddie. Like
It is. I mean, it is a different side, and it's a very valid side. I mean, a lot of people are just at different places with this because I guess my perspective is the Republican Party, like helping dismantle the structures of oppression is just what's right. I really don't feel like we should have to campaign that hard for what humanity looks like. I don't feel like we have to go to the Republican Party and beg for a seat at the table for that. And we shouldn't have to do it for either party. And that's why my message last week is the parties as they look right now, I'm with Sid. As the parties look right now, and that's why my energy is going to encouraging us to make the party look like what we want it to look like. Because if Lindsey Graham about to lose his seat and Mitch McConnell about to lose his seat
out of there
to Democrats, that looks like the party changing to what we needed to because they ain't center right. they ain't where Bill Clinton was at. They ain't where Biden was at. A lot of people that are coming into the party now are further left.
Yeah.
Which corresponds with what I hope. I'm not center. I'm far left in terms of liberal.
When you think about liberal, far left, far right, I'm in the middle, I'm free spirit. Let's do a quick lesson on what that means. If anybody in the virtual studio, either of our ladies in the virtual studio want to jump in with that first, or if our guys in studio who wants to take that, just a quick breakdown of what liberal left and far right or right conservative, and then what's in the middle. Like, what does it look like on the spectrum?
So for conservative or far, or what you would call right wing conservatism is basically people who look at the Constitution and agree with the Constitution as is and don't believe that it needs to be interpreted in any other different way other than how it was written. So they are, in essence, conservatives or Republicans are traditionalists. They believe in individuals doing for selves, businesses, aiding businesses for the trickle down effect of business. If you help and support businesses, businesses will in turn help and support other people. So then you look at the left or liberal, that is more about social services or social support. So the government playing a role in an individual's success by providing programs to support the lesser of those and individuals who may not be acclimated to being able to do things for themselves. So they believe that the Constitution should be interpreted based on what's going on now. So looking at the Constitution, even though it was written in the 1700s, taking it now and saying, okay, looking from the lens of 2020, this is what the law means. And like I say, Republicans or conservatives are like, no, we're going to look at the lens that it was originally created in.
When
and
none
that's
of
what
us
it means.
existed and none of
us. And see, that's a conflict with black folks because a part of the Constitution, we weren't included in the Constitution. We were 3/5 of a person. And in regards to the Constitution. So that's why it's hard. That's why you tend to see more black folks going to the left or liberal because the Constitution, they want the Constitution interpreted through today's lens to accommodate or to account for of what was neglected and left out in the in 1776 when the Constitution. I apologize if I quoted the date wrong when it was signed, but in the 1700s when it was originally created. So you get into far left when people like that's what they call
Burn it.
socialists.
Tear it up. Let's just start over.
Let's start over. Let's support people in every facet possible. Healthcare, education, like let's give stuff away, whether you've earned it or not. And then far right is like less government, no like government influence, very little government influence, and strong and heavy on states' rights. So the federal government having less of a role in an individual's life, and the state government having more of that role in the individual's life.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
Another vantage
Understood.
All
another
right.
vantage point is when you look at liberty and justice for all.
Mhm.
Liberty is the freedom of the individual, and the right looks at the freedom of the individual as more important than the
Sum of the
sacrifice of that for justice. And the justice side is the sacrifice of the individual for the benefit of the group. And I think that's the two sides that are dueling. It's like we want these individual freedoms and we want to have them, and all those individual freedoms mean we don't do things that end up being a wide net cast over a group. But when you're dealing with justice, wide nets have to be cast over groups who are oppressing others. Like if white people are oppressing black people, you got to change the rules for white people. If men are oppressing women, you got to change the rules for men. And people who are the right that desires liberty don't want that.
Question: when is the last time you said the Pledge of Allegiance?
Last Monday, and that was because it was a part of the intro to city council meeting.
I don't say it.
When I was
Right.
the third
they made us
grade?
say it.
No.
Yeah.
Put your hand over your heart,
Yeah.
kids.
Now, when I go
What?
if I go to public events, I typically like if they before a football game or sporting event, and say, "Please rise for the national anthem" or the Pledge of. No, they don't even do the
Right,
Pledge of
first of
Allegiance.
all,
It's
what?
national anthem. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't sing it per se. I just
Go and drop that Negro national anthem, the Black national anthem for me.
hey, that's
please.
what they need to start playing before
Lift every
classic
voice.
for real.
Yeah,
as
it's-
opposed, yeah. That,
Mhm. Remember
hey,
that
I don't
whole
know who
campaign?
listening. But yeah, y'all need to go ahead and start incorporate that into the classic from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna do the national black the black national anthem.
It's a thing. It's a thing. It has to be a big thing. We have to make it make sense for
Absolutely.
everybody.
Like even our black
Come
school
on.
systems, like that needs to be taught. So yeah, y'all can do the Pledge of Allegiance, but lift every voice and sing over the intercom before y'all start up school. Well, when people actually go back to school,
Mhm.
start doing that. Like just normalize lift every voice and sing.
First of
Other than
all,
Black History Month.
yeah, we should learn it.
Kwanzaa.
We should know it. That's the other part. Like we
Guilty.
should
And
know it.
I would like to say that at Ramsey High School, Myrna Rhea Ross made sure that we knew that, and we sang it everywhere we go, everywhere we
Alright.
went. And so on at Dillard University. If you went to HBCU and they did not enforce that, then you need to go on and call your office of administration or whomever you need to talk to and
real.
say, hey, y'all need to go ahead and enforce that.
You want to say some of it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm ready for it. Okay. If you
I'm
feel like-
always ready.
Okay, so by the end of the show, we'll get you to close us out with that or something. I think that'll be
Okay.
phenomenal.
Just the
Just
first
because-
verse, because it's 3.
Oh yeah, and
And I think everybody get lost on that second verse. Like the second verse, everybody do like 1 and 3. It's that second verse that throw everybody
and then does faith and hope? Which one comes
off.
first?
Exactly.
Okay, we're gonna break
Mhm.
it down for you. Okay, so we have
Mhm.
more coming up in our second half of the first hour. October is almost out of here. Can y'all believe that?
Thank God.
Yeah, thank
October's a
God.
big
Come on,
month.
2021. Let's go.
Wait a minute. Let me stop the music. Where my record scratch at? First of all, October is the greatest month of every year. Okay.
10
That's when you
10.
finally-
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, yes, sis. That's when you finally get some balance in your life. Okay. And it's fun. That's when the seasons change and you start to feel good. Thank you very much. But it is the last week of October. And being at the last week of October, there are several things that we've had to be aware of, including ADHD Awareness Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Eczema Awareness Month.
Really?
Yes.
Mm.
I'm like, man, I'm all over October.
No.
I got all them.
Except
What else?
breast cancer.
Except breast cancer,
Yeah.
amen.
No, we not claiming that.
Infant loss awareness month is October.
Dang.
it's so many different things in October. And we have guests on Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We have guests on both parts of our show tonight who will be speaking to that. So when we come back from our first break, we're going to talk to Brenda Brown's Bosom Buddies and get to know more about them. So we have sisters who have their own organizations about breast cancer. Not saying that you shouldn't support others, but you should support yours first, right? Duh.
Right.
And then they're right here in the city. It started right here. So we're going to meet them and hear what they've been doing through this October. And then second hour, we're going to hear about some sisters who are doing a great event on Saturday with domestic violence. So it's coming from a lady's perspective, but guys, do not turn your radio off. Stay tuned. Take notes. We got more events to talk about, more social justice issues to talk about, and of course, more politics. We're going to jump into our break so that we can get right back. We'll be back. If you're watching on social media, stay right there because we don't go anywhere over there. It's Vital, V94.9 WATB. We'll be right back. All right, everyone. So if you're watching on social media, stay right there. We'll be right back. We're gonna get our guests in. Our crew will keep you entertained and uplifted while we make our transitions in studio. Y'all just hold it down. Christina Marlicia, tell some jokes. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Yo, let me tell you. No, I'm just playing.
How y'all doing, fam, on social media? We want you to keep commenting. Let us know your thoughts so we can get to your questions, comments, concerns. What do you think about the show thus far tonight? Let us know. Is it something you want us to discuss that we haven't brought up yet?
Hey, Christine, what kind of fitness tips can they be doing right now?
Squeeze your buns.
Hey, that's what you need to start doing. Give them some workout tips.
True. I will. But even right now, what we can do is drink water. Does your pee look like beer? That's an issue.
Oh my God,
So we
yeah.
can do a hydration check. How does
Foamy.
your urine look?
Like foamy?
Yes.
Is that what we talking about? Or we talking about the color of beer? Some days we foam and some days not.
I don't want it to be foamy.
Hey, I go by the color.
What is that
Yeah.
diet?
Does it have
What
an
is
I
that
mean, you
diet
got
that
too
we're
much
on?
acidity.
I already know. Like, lately I hadn't been doing a good job with my water intake. So
I've been doing pretty good with my water intake.
This is my water
I've
bottle.
been doing
This-
a terrible job just remembering to eat. So like, too much drink
Yeah.
water. So yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get you one of them military backpack water things where the thing just come around to the front and you just
Listen, I got
throughout the day.
got a big gallon jug. I just
Thanks,
haven't been
Quan.
filling it up and doing stuff. That's all.
Yeah. I keep mine.
Thanks for those comments. I see them now. Shouts out to all of you for commenting. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see the comments.
You can't. Let me see.
You know how people look when they're live and they're like, that's
What's
me.
going on?
I'm just here.
I know it. Have to slide back in it and then pull up. Huh?
What?
Oh, am I moving?
She talking about the chill, Christine.
I was like, wait.
Hey, Red, so be sure to share our video to your group so that we can reach more people that may not know
Yes.
about what's happening here. It's important.
Oh, Biden proposes 400,000 plus taxes raise.
94.9 WATV. I am Lady Wu. You are listening to Vital, the Abby Award-winning Vital show. We have special guests in studio, and of course, our virtual studio is up and popping as well. So they will be in the conversation as they have been in the screen right now and on your airwaves. We have Brenda Brown's bosom buddies in the building. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for joining us in studio. You all are our first guest in studio. Well, I had one, but as an organization, you are the first since March. So welcome.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Honored.
Yes. So
All right.
welcome. We've been just thugging it out. Okay.
I got you. We
keeping
like
it
being the first.
keeping it safe. Yes. So October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and you all do a great work in the community. Miss Brenda, whose namesake is the organization Brenda Brown's Bosom Buddies, is at the mic. And also, well, I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves. Let's start that way so that you can tell your whole track record and who you are. So I'll start with Miss Brenda.
Okay. My name is Brenda Phillips Hong, and I am the founder and executive director of Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies.
Brenda's Brown. So like all of us say Brenda Brown's, like that's
I
your
know it
name.
like that's my last
Sorry.
name.
Sorry. My apologies.
No, and I always say it slow because people think my last name is Brown.
Yeah, and we know that it's not here, but
I
that's
know,
how we
but,
say
but
it. Sorry.
it's so much easier to say Brenda Brown's Bosom Buddies.
Yeah, Brenda Brown. Nice ring too.
But it's Brenda Brown. Brenda's Brown, like us,
Yes,
Brown
yes.
bosom buddies. Okay.
Like the girls.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So then on the other mic we have
Good evening, 94.9 audience. I am Lenice Washington. I am the Jefferson County District Attorney for the Bessemer Division. And I am honored to be on the board for Brenda Brown Bosom Buddies. And I'm also here as a 10-year breast cancer survivor.
yes. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So I'm very happy to hear the survival and survivor word. That's an important word that'll be a part of this conversation tonight, along with awareness and what to look for. So we're going to do a lot within this hour. If one of you will turn your camera toward our guest so that our virtual studio can see who we're talking to, I appreciate it. So we'll start with Miss Brenda. Breast cancer and breast cancer awareness. To start an organization means that whatever the cause is means something to you. Typically, that's why people will say, well, yeah, I'm going to start something. I'm going to get out here and go forward with it. What's your story?
I was living in Detroit, Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
and I was diagnosed here in Birmingham because I came home to go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I was traveling a lot because I was on the road with an entertainer. So once I was diagnosed, I had the surgery done in California because I didn't feel comfortable with this. And I know this sounds like I'm a vagabond, right?
I was going to say, you are all over the
I
place.
know it.
Okay.
I know it.
Okay.
But I did not find comfort, or I just didn't feel like I was going to get the proper care here in Birmingham. And I don't want to sound like I'm thinking I'm all of that.
Yeah.
But I was told that I had breast cancer over the phone by my doctor.
Wow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think I wanted her to do anything else with me,
Wow. Okay.
especially surgery,
Yeah.
because she told me that I said, well, what's my prognosis? She said, well, I just think you need to get both your breasts removed and then you won't have to worry about it anymore. And that really is not true either. But needless to say, I left and I had surgery
Mm-hmm.
in California. 2 years later, it came back. I had a biopsy done, and I was told that I didn't have a lump or anything. I was just tired all the time.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I was tired all the time, and that was not my nature.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To be tired, I was always on the go, moving.
Like
And-
now.
Yeah, like now. So, to really make a long story short, I had the surgery. I had a lumpectomy. I did not have a mastectomy.
Okay. What's the difference?
The difference is they go in and remove the lump,
Uh-huh.
and you keep your breast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't know if that was vanity or what it was, but I did not have a mastectomy. 2 years later, it came back.
Mm-hmm.
And you know I had a mastectomy, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So was the doctor right about getting them both cut off and not having to worry about it? No, because I still got the left one. I had a breast reduction
Okay.
and a mastectomy.
Wow.
And guess how long ago that was?
How what?
I'm a 30-year breast
30
cancer survivor.
years. Wow. So 30 years ago.
Was the
Amen.
initial.
Yes.
Okay. So I just listening to that story, you 30 years ago, you were doing what all of us are doing. Christine and Marlicia and we're all over the place. We're doing everything. And to be tired, like the seasons just changed. So I would just assume, the seasons changed. Or I would just assume, well, I wouldn't think anything of it. So what made you think that you should get a mammogram?
I went to, well, I didn't even think about it. My boss said, "Is something wrong? You're sluggish. Something is wrong." Because she was a very observant person, and I guess knew me very well. So it was time for me to come to back home because that's what I was doing. I can still consider Birmingham home.
Yeah.
So I went to my doctor, and he said, "I think you ought to get a mammogram." Because I didn't have a lump, remember?
No lump, right? No tingling, no nothing.
No discharge, no tingling, no nothing.
Wow.
And when he said that, okay, so he sends me to another doctor to get the test and all of this and have the mammogram done. And I got back home and there was a message on my machine from my doctor, not the one who told me I had breast cancer.
Yeah.
But saying that he needed to talk to me.
Okay.
Because he had gotten the news before I did because I was back, on the road again. So I think that when you talk about what are the signs, no two bodies have the same signs. It was explained to me and shown to me on the screen that it was little pebbles.
I've heard you say
like salt.
I heard you saying that before. Yeah.
Yes. And they're called calcifications. If I had not gone and gotten a mammogram, I probably wouldn't be sitting here now.
Wow. So just little grains of salt that affected you by making you feel tired, and those were breast cancer.
It was breast cancer. When they did the biopsy, they went in and took a little bit of that. The doctor said when they're all the way over, just everywhere, usually it's not malignant. But when they make a design, a pattern, it tends to be cancer.
Wow. Lady,
I have a
yeah,
question.
you all have anything? It's Marlicia.
Yeah. Hi. I just wanted to know, you think about the word survivor and everything. And so you beat it once, okay? And then you beat it the first time and then you have a sense of relief. But then you get the news a second time that okay, it's back. What was your emotional state? What was your response? How did it make you feel? Did you feel like, okay, I'm going to conquer this? Or did you feel somewhat defeated, afraid? What is that
about all of the
emotion?
At first, I guess I probably felt sorry for myself. I'm kind of a strong person. When I say a strong person, I don't mean that I can pick up a building. I mean that my attitude is that of strength.
Absolutely.
And I just didn't think that it was time for me to go anywhere but to get this breast removed and to try to find a way to deal with it. So I had all of those emotions, I'm sure, but the one that lasted the longest was I will survive.
Amen to that.
Christine, you leaning in to speak?
Yes, so like to touch on what Marlicia was saying, like I know she just asked about how the process was for you, but how was it? Because I also think like our support system and everything, how were the people around you? You know, it's like and I say that asking like um you know, some people tend to pity you or it's like stay strong or I'm praying, but what was that like for you? Like those around your loved ones and your friends.
I think that's why I ended up starting Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies, because I I had friends who were very supportive. I couldn't have asked for better friends. I had friends who came from Birmingham to Detroit to go. I didn't have chemo, but they came to go to radiation with me. So that made me feel very, very well as it relates to having someone who cared enough to drive from Birmingham to Detroit to be with me in the wintertime.
Mhm.
Real
Wow.
friend.
Yeah, real friend.
Those are real friends. for
Yes.
real.
But to talk about a group, when I would go to the various survivor groups, there were people who were talking about they wanted to live long enough to for their grandson's bar mitzvah, or somebody else wanted to make sure that her daughter had a husband. I wasn't married. I didn't have any children.
Mm-hmm.
And there was all I wanted to do was to figure out how I was going to get better, stay strong, and live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That I mean that's what it's about. Like if I live, let me live first.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
figure that part out first, and then okay, the bar mitzvah cool. You know, the wedding, the husband, great, but I need to
Right.
live first. I'm with
Right.
you.
Right.
I'm with
Mm-hmm.
you. That's that brown.
Self-preservation.
Yeah, that's that brown. Sister Lanice, you know, so that's Sister Brenda's story. What's your story? I was around for yours too.
Yes, you were. You were. I was diagnosed when I was 43 years old, and I was actually running for district judge at the time. And how mine was discovered was a self check.
Mm,
And while campaigning, going, speaking, because the office that I now serve as the elected district attorney, I served as one of the assistant district attorneys for 8 years.
okay.
But I had to resign that position in order for me to run for district judge. So one night after I had spoken at some event, I'm fully clothed for the most part, without just took my shoes off. I'm sitting on my bed and the television is on, and there's a person talking a infomercial about self-check,
Hmm.
about women taking care of yourselves, checking yourself for breast cancer. And I just took my left hand and just did like one of these numbers, not expecting anything. And lo and behold, I said, a lump. I'll get with my doctor later. Well, later turned out to be a lot later because I was campaigning. And so, breast cancer.
Were you thinking
Oh, no.
that?
Oh, no, because it wouldn't happen to me.
Okay.
It happened to older people. May happen to someone next door. It may happen to someone else that I may know, but it wouldn't happen to me. So that was far from my mind. So when I went to the doctor and had it was time for my annual anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So it was found in August, and they found a lump. um I ended up having to go through several rounds of chemotherapy. The first one was adriamycin, and I understand I'm on the campaign trail, and I have a
Yeah.
14-year-old son, and my husband is in Iraq on a
Wow.
defense contract, and he had just left.
Like everything is happening.
Everything is happening. And he said, well, do you want me to come back? You want me to come back? It's like, no, because you signed the contract. That was the Department of Defense. And if you come back, that means we have to pay money back on that contract.
Go on, say.
And
I got it.
yeah. And then on top of that, I had resigned from my job. So we needed to live.
Yeah.
So I told him, no, you stay. I said, me and God, we've got this.
Mm.
And so my son, that was a journey that I took with my son. And the first thing before the Adriamycin even started, the first thing they did, I had a bilateral mastectomy.
What is it?
A bilateral mastectomy is when you have both breasts removed.
Mm.
So if you can imagine, as women, there are certain part of our anatomy that make us up kind of as we think
Yeah.
defines us.
Yes.
But I had to lose the girls to save the woman.
Mm.
And I went under the
Mhm.
knife on a
Let me find my organ.
Yeah, yeah. We
I had
dun,
to,
dun, dun, dun.
I
Yeah.
had surgery on
Mhm.
Friday, and that was September 10th, and that was the same day that my wonderful great niece Camille was born.
Hmm.
So half of my family was at Brookwood with me, with
Okay.
her, and the other half was with Highland with me. It was crazy. But imagine waking up knowing you're going under and you have both girls, and you wake up and they're gone. So following that, of course, I had chemo. I had
Mm.
50 rounds of chemo.
You had to do both.
Oh yeah,
The
and
removal
radiation. And radiation. So there were 3 medicines that were a part of my treatment. It was
Yeah.
Adriamycin, which they referred as the red devil. Even the nurses, when they administer it, they're all clothed and they have a mask, and so you sitting there like, what the heck are you putting in my system?
Okay.
But it kills good cells and bad cells, and when it kills cells, it took away all of my hair. No one knew, for the most part, very few people knew this. Now I'm campaigning strong, and I was bald, and I transitioned to a wig that was much like my hairstyle. It took my eyebrows. Well, we draw them on. Took my eyelashes, eyeliner.
It's a fix for all of that.
It's a fix for all of that, because see, I told my God that I wanted to live,
Yeah.
Ooh.
and every day I walked in it. Now, every night my pillow was wet. I'm just being honest. But every morning, at the dawning, joy came.
Amen.
So, it was a long journey. I had my family, my great niece, when she came from the hospital, they actually came home and stayed with me. And so I didn't have my husband. My mother-in-law from Montgomery came,
Mhm.
but I have to say I was not a good patient, because I was still trying to campaign. And
Yeah.
I recall having the drains coming from my chest. And I was so glad when all of them left my house so that I can get out, because they kept me down. And
I'm fine. Y'all go ahead and leave.
yeah. Ooh,
Okay.
thank you. And
I know the
I
feeling.
remember sticking those drains. I had a pantsuit. I had made a commitment with Bishop Davis. He was over the what's it, Episcopal um a church. It was a big convention. They did it every year, but this time the venue was in the Bessemer area. I call them cow udders. I stuck those cow udders in my pants, put on my pantsuit, and I went. I prayed and I went for it. Now I can truly say God
Wow.
take care of fools and babies, and I did not fall in the baby category.
So you were foolish that day.
I was foolish the whole time.
Okay.
I went through radiation. I did not win the seat for district judge, but I remember that was the year that our mayor in Bessemer, Kenneth Gully, he won.
Mhm.
And I remember going to the mayoral ball, and I was getting dressed, and a clump of hair just came up. It didn't. It felt like a feather or cotton. It wasn't stuck to my scalp at all. And I stood in the mirror, and I got my son, and he stood beside me. I told him the process beginning. I said, "Are you okay?" And we're standing side by side, looking in the mirror, talking to one another. And I said, "Are
Wow.
you okay?" He said, "I'm okay." I said, "Okay." Well, we went on, but that was the first sign, like, this is real. And
Hmm.
yeah, it was a lot. I lost when I lost the race. I was appointed as judge for the city of Bessemer. Lost fingernails. First my nail bed got dark.
Mhm.
Then I lost the entire nail bed. But it was a journey. well, what can I say? It was a journey. It was a journey of
Yeah.
mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. And then to hear you break it down, like how this thing, this is supposed to be healing me or helping me, but it's breaking me down.
Oh yeah, it kills. It doesn't know how to differentiate between good cells and bad cells. So it's called the red devil, Adriamycin. Everybody who has had it, they know about it. But I took Adriamycin, Cytoxin, and Taxol. So those were my three meds that they administered for 50 rounds.
Mm.
So it was a lot. Chemo, radiation. But all I can say is, but God.
Man, 10 years.
10 years, September 10th last month.
Awesome. So 10 years and 30 years. And I can see how you all are looking at each other, tell your stories, that this story is never it's like, I guess it's always a present story.
Oh yeah.
Like
It's always it always sounds new. It always sounds new, and it brings memories back.
Yeah.
I tell survivors, and Miss Hong, she has a wonderful word. She calls us victors.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than survivors, we're
Mhm.
victors. And I tell people that are going through breast cancer and going through that journey, to journal. And that was very therapeutic for me. I journaled every day, and so later I was able to look back when that peach fuzz got into hair, and now
Yeah.
there was a time you never would have seen me with short hair.
And it's super cute.
Oh, thank you, but there
Because I
was
can see like
never.
maybe that little part. It's she's a character, but she has like the dope little part right here.
Uh-huh.
You got it all going on.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
It's all going on.
But I never would have had cut my hair this low. But now you'll never see me with long hair unless I got on a wig.
Super cute.
But yeah, it's everybody has a different journey.
Yeah.
And caregivers, there's a special place for caregivers, because they go through so much. Even caregivers, because
Yeah.
they don't know, they can't touch you. It's kind of like a mom when the baby is crying and you don't know why the baby is crying and you just wish you could take it away.
Yeah.
That's how caregivers are. And it's like that, we can be ornery,
Mm-hmm.
going through, we can be a little ornery.
Understandably.
Ooh,
But
child.
my hats off to caregivers, and Miss Hong, what she's doing with Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies. I didn't know about it, that support team, when I was going through, during those vital stages. But I'm still trying to remember when I met you, Miss Brenda. Do you remember?
Yes.
You remember which event? It was some event.
It was a breast cancer event that was on the eastern side of town.
Okay.
It's like, let me
Yeah,
say,
it was at
oh,
this
okay.
big church, and I can't.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was there speaking for
Mhm.
another group, and I met Miss Brenda, and our spirits just jailed.
Yeah.
It just jailed. And
She has that type of energy.
she does.
Yeah.
She does. And the services that Brenda Brown Bosom Buddies, the services they provide for women of color that don't have the ability to, they don't have insurance, they don't have the ability to obtain mammograms. The services, the monies that are raised that go to the hospitals are St. Vincent's
Mm-hmm.
and Brookwood, and they're able to get those basic mammograms to save their lives.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. So I called Miss Brenda. So you all know we lost two of our dear employees like back to back a few months ago, and one of them was in his 30s and died from cancer. And all of us were just on guard and on edge about that because we're all in our 30s and like, oh wow. So I just felt, I don't know if I was just feeling those butterflies or if I was feeling something physical. I don't know what it was, but I called Miss Brenda. I said, look, I want to get a mammogram.
Mhm.
And that's because we did a show last year where we had mammography specialists to come in and they were talking about black women and age. For
Mhm.
most women it's 40. And they were saying, if you have anything going on, 35 is fine. I was like, okay, cool, let me go. So I went. And it,
Mhm.
I didn't make fun. I don't do that. When I go handle some health business, I go handle the business, then I report. So I went and I wasn't nervous or anything like that, but I was really just thinking about what everybody else had already said about mammograms. I thought it was the most painful thing in the world, but I'm cool. I can handle it. walking around with tattoos and piercings and
Oh yeah.
cesarean section. I'm good on pain, right?
Mhm.
So I go, and it's really easy. And they, put your breast in the thing, and they press a little bit. It was nothing. I just couldn't understand why everybody was so dramatic about the mammogram. It doesn't hurt, and it didn't even take long. So I'm still trying to figure that part out. Stop scaring people with y'all scary selves, because it wasn't that bad. Okay, that's the first thing. That's the first thing. It was not bad. Okay.
Now it may be bad for some of the women that don't have too much to work
Is
with.
that what it is? Oh,
Ma-
well, I
I
got a
think
lot of
maybe
that.
that's what it is. because
Sorry. Okay, my bad.
I think that's probably what it is, because if you recall, they have to pull you
Oh,
up.
it was easy then. Yeah, no
yeah.
problem.
So, but that is important. That is a life-saving
Yeah.
process, a
Yes.
procedure that as women, men get breast cancer as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
So that is something that we just have to take care of ourselves. We have to love ourselves.
Thank you for calling me out, though. I didn't want. Okay.
No, you call. You said, I don't understand
I-
what they're talking about. I'm like,
You got me straight. You
"Well."
did, because I just couldn't figure it out. It was really easy for me. I guess now we know why.
I'm
Okay.
sorry,
So shouts out to our viewers and listeners who are tuned in and commenting. Beverly Miles, Auntie, another breast cancer survivor. Thank you so much for tuning in. She says, love you guys. Great show. Very informative. She's a survivor of Victor as well. So we have a night full of victors here on Vital. My dad comments, he said, amen, sisters. I am a prostate cancer victor. It's not a
Awesome.
joke. So cancer is not a joke, period, no matter where it hits. But October, breast cancer awareness. So how can people support Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies?
Normally we have 2 signature events, but of course COVID-19 sort of stopped that. That's the Pink Hat and Tie Luncheon.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Beverly Miles was our Brownie Award winner this year.
Yay.
Yeah, we moved it to Vulcan and had a nice time in an outside venue.
Okay.
Then we have Sister Strut, which was not as successful this year as it has been. So people can send a donation to Cash App, okay? And that would be $BBB Buddies. So that's 4 B's and then UDDIES. Or they can send a donation to P.O. Box 310532, Birmingham 35231. And we not only appreciate donations, we need them, because as we offer free mammograms, we also offer transportation round trip, not to get a mammogram, but to go and receive breast cancer treatments.
Awesome.
Okay. We also provide housekeeping. Now, with COVID-19, we kind of pulled back with the housekeeping because our bonded staff would go in and do light housekeeping. But not only are what we call our clients rather than our patients, because we are not medical people, they were skeptical. And the 2 people that that we have doing this were skeptical as well.
I understand.
Yeah.
Understood.
So, and we also give annually we give a scholarship assistance award to a nurse of color, and we do that through Birmingham Black Nurses Association. So anything that you can do to help us. $5 is not too little. We need everything that you can muster up. And I know times are hard for everybody. Yes. And so whatever you can spare, we appreciate it.
Awesome appeal. Miss Lanisha, you want to add anything to that?
Oh yeah, I just want to say, Brenda Brown Bosom Buddies is a phenomenal organization, and they just don't talk the talk; they walk the walk. And Miss Brenda is a dynamic lady. In fact, she's probably going to get me what I'm about to say, but Thursday of this week, she will be celebrating her 75th
Yes.
birthday. Woo woo!
Yes.
To God be the
Yes.
glory.
Myself.
To God be the glory.
Yes.
But
Mhm.
but you know, Brenda Brown Bosom Buddies, they everyone in that organization, they're willing to work, they're kind, and
Mhm.
every penny goes to people who are going through breast cancer and for their examinations, their treatment, anything that is supportive of a person either going through breast cancer or just the basic mammograms where flags are raised with Brookwood and St. Vincent's and they don't have the financial means. You know, I heard you guys earlier talking about different issues. Let's not, if you go to Affordable Care Act,
Mhm.
you know, some people they just don't have that insurance. So Brenda Brown Bosom Buddies, um, you know, it helps with the basic mammograms.
All right.
And none of us receive a salary or payment. It's all volunteers. Nobody gets paid to do anything.
All right, ladies. Thank you so much for coming in tonight and sharing your stories. Thank you for speaking out about breast cancer awareness and educating us on your experiences, on what's needed, how people can help, how they can be vital. You all see the Cash App information on our virtual or in the virtual studio. Also, the P.O. box if you need it, and we'll air it again and give you that information again tonight. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more victors. Thank you, Miss Brenda, right here on the Abby Award winning Vital Show. We'll be right back in just a few. If you're on social media, stay there. We'll keep the conversation going.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh,
Got a pair of-
wow.
Oh, cool.
All right, everybody. So you just heard some great information from our guests. Oh, my hair is stuck on the microphone. Yes, great information. If you have any questions or any comments, the ladies are still in studio, so you can ask your questions, ask your comments. Ladies, if you all want to say anything in the virtual studio, please do.
They left. But I wanted to
They're right
say,
there.
okay, I wanted to say, I love the fact that, like, when someone is able to be a victor, you know, a survivor, that you're able to give back to other people. Like, it doesn't stop with you. You know, it's just like, okay, I was able to get through it. I was able to conquer, you know, and be a victor. So now it's like, don't let it stop with you. So I love the work that they're doing. Just like I feel like we all should do. It's like, if you know you overcame something, man, to be able to share that, to be able to share your story, your encouragement to help somebody else out, you know, so it doesn't stop with you, but it can keep going to help somebody else, like, beat whatever it is they got going on and that they're going through.
I agree, Christine. I mean, it doesn't stop with cancer, whatever that thing may be, you know, because people need that motivation. They need to see that others have gotten through those hard times, have gotten through those battles and wars and come out victorious, you know, and whatever that may be, whether it is drug abuse, alcoholism, HIV, you know, whatever that may be, that you can still move forward and live your best life.
And
Absolutely.
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You know, when you were talking about sharing with others, you know, I often say that God allow people to go through things is not about us, but
Mhm.
when we get through it, is to be a blessing and to be supportive for the next person that's coming through. Because whoever is listening, they may have been, you know, a word that either Miss Brenda or I have said may be something to help them. So it's all about as we go, as we live in this world, we're nothing without helping someone else. So to share our message to help other people, that's what it's
Mhm.
all about. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Thank you
ladies.
so much. Thank you
Thank
again.
you. Oh, and if there are any people listening and you do have insurance, if you have a union, I would encourage you to check. There is a such thing as cancer insurance. Okay. I know I work for the government and they do offer it through my union. So if it is something that is prevalent in your family, and it doesn't have to be for you to get it, but that's something you would want to look into.
you doing? Good to see you. Thank you. I left my water somewhere.
Inslee, V94.9 WATV. It is the Abby Award winning Vital Show. I am Lady Wu. Awesome first hour. Very good, very good, very good. How y'all feeling? Virtual studio, ladies, y'all in here?
I'm in here.
Gentlemen, you in here?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
So we just learned a lot, personal experiences about breast cancer and being breast cancer victors. But we know that October is a month of a lot. It's a lot going on. But before we get to our next victor, we have Sir Said back in studio. So welcome back, Sir Said.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Like I say, I hope it's more. I'll be back for good. November 3rd. So
Yes.
after November 3rd, Lord Jesus. All right. So part of what has had me out of the studio, I don't know, for a while now, is an organization I work for called Woke Vote. That was founded by Birmingham's own DeWanna Thompson. I'm doing national outreach, and we have a state of emergency bus tour going on with Until Freedom going across the country. So they were in Miami with Diddy a couple of days ago. They made a stop in Montgomery, but tomorrow they will be in Birmingham, and they are not coming alone. Tamika Palmer, who is the mother of Breonna Taylor, is coming to Birmingham specifically because she heard how Birmingham rolls. So she's coming to Birmingham for a rally that'll take place outside of 16th Street Baptist Church at noon. After the rally, we'll march to the courthouse for people to early vote. So they'll be able to, we'll march people down to the line to get in line at the courthouse and early vote, and then encourage people that are out there to go ahead and continue to vote. We'll have some events and some DJs and whatnot going on out there. And then Monday, later on that evening at 4 o'clock, from 4 to 6, we'll meet at the Gate City Community Center, which is Kimberly Avenue and 66th Street South in Birmingham, and we'll be knocking on doors, canvassing or knocking on doors in Gate City, encouraging people to go vote. So we're targeting the area because we know that's a low voter turnout area. So we want to make sure we have as many people as possible out from 4 to 6. We want you to be at the rally at noon, but we definitely want you to be on hand from 4 to 6. So if you're a member of fraternity, a sorority, civic organization, or just you as an individual, like, we want you to come out there, bring your kids, help us knock on doors, help us encourage people in Gate City to get out and vote from 4 to 6. We'll have some items to give away, and Miss Palmer will also be knocking on doors with us. So this is a phrase my saying my pastor used to say about when guests would come to the church.
Yeah.
When guests come to your home, you need to be there. So Birmingham, we have a guest. We have an esteemed guest in Miss Tamika Palmer that's coming to visit our home. So we want to make sure we show her Birmingham is about that life and comes out and support. And furthermore, DeWanna Thompson, one of our very own, who is constantly and continuously puts on for the city of Birmingham, she will be coming into town for the event as well. So we want to make sure we show Miss Palmer a warm welcome from Birmingham, and that we give DeWanna a good welcome home for now, because after she leaves Birmingham, they're going to North Carolina for some stops. They're going to Atlanta. They'll be in Philadelphia and in everything in Michigan. So while she's in Birmingham, we want to make sure we show up and show us some love. So the rally is at noon tomorrow at 16th Street Baptist Church. The march will take place from 16th Street Baptist Church to the Jefferson County Courthouse downtown. And then from 4 to 6, we'll be over in Gate City knocking on doors, encouraging people to come out and vote. So You won't be doing it alone. Don't be scared. Come out there and knock on the doors with your neighbors. We're doing it from 4 to 6, so we'll be out of there before it get too dark. If you're concerned about that, but we definitely need all hands on deck for this. We are 9 days away from the election, guys.
9 days.
One of the biggest elections of our lifetime, if not the biggest. So as we need as many people coming out to vote as possible.
And then at 7 p.m. on social media, so you can be leaving from the door knocking and from hanging with Woke Vote, you can sit down with your phone or at your computer and watch me talk to our mayor. The city of Birmingham is hosting a conversation called "The Streets Are Talking." So hey, we bringing the streets to the I'll say to the White House, but to City Hall they brought me in. So I will be talking to Mayor Randall Woodfin on tomorrow, 6 p.m. Well, no, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. on Facebook. Go and add the City of Birmingham. Go like that page, and you can find this conversation. And I will be reading your comments and your questions for the mayor, and we'll just have a conversation like we always do. But this time he's hosting me. So I can't wait to do that. You don't have to come anywhere. You can just watch from where you are. I'll post it on our pages. We'll have all of these posters. Posters. Y'all remember posters? We'll have all of these flyers posted on our page so that you can be a part of everything that's happening. So tomorrow is a jam-packed day, and we're going to make sure that you all are well connected. I see I just got a text message. Said, did you get it as well? From one of our great commissioners.
No, I did not get
And I
that.
cannot forward it to you at the moment. I'm sorry. Commissioner, if you're listening, send it to Said. Send it to Sir Said. So in studio, another Victor.
Cedric Norman. I don't know if she know. I don't know if she know the area.
Sorry, Cedric
Yeah,
Norman.
Yeah.
Counselor. Send it to Cedric Norman. Sorry, Commissioner. So another Victor is in the studio. The month of October, pink and purple look really good together. And even though they look good together, they cause a lot of hurt. Before we have victors, we have to get through. We have to be resilient and make it through these different situations. Breast cancer being one, domestic violence and domestic abuse being the other. So in studio with an event that is called Soul Recovery is Miss Tina Thornton. Welcome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we just connected like the other day. And once again, beautiful energy, great spirit. I think those people are the ones who are vital, and they just come to us and we bring them on in. So welcome to Vital.
Thank you.
What you're doing is vital. This event is going to be Saturday, 10:30 a.m. and it's a walk. It's a walk, right?
And a vigil.
And a vigil. Okay, so tell us
at Patton Park.
at Patton Park. So right in the heart of the city, right off the freeway, jump off, and at 10:30 a.m. that's when everything will start, and the vigil will start around noonish.
Correct.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and my last assault was in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in that time frame, it took me a good lengthy period to find me amongst the mess of the stolen identity, the grief, and all of that that goes with domestic violence. And so, out of that, I found myself spending so much time trying to help others and not get the help that I needed.
Mm.
And so I took the necessary time away from the business of ministry and trying to operate in survivor mode, that I found it necessary to identify the tools and also found some gaps in the tools that were being served.
Hmm.
And so with that, I was able to kind of create a program and then a business that became a ministry. And now we're kind of working to serve the capacity of those that have been affected by domestic violence on many levels.
Hmm.
And so with that, we created a private platform on social media. We
Mhm.
have two groups. And one of them, initially, the group started off with a slogan: real talk, real testimonies, and real time solutions.
Okay.
And it was based on testimonies of those that had encountered different things in life, not necessarily domestic violence. But from that, healing was exposed through removing the layers. I am a professional counselor as well as
Mhm.
ordained minister.
Yes.
And so having that and having individuals in the group that were licensed therapists, social workers, we all came together to create these programs that individuals could kind of gain from,
Love it.
with topical discussions that were faith-based, however, that was dealing with holistic approach to getting your healing. And so that's how we kind of started it virtually, though we had been doing this in the community for many years, grassroots.
Mhm.
And so now our focus in this month of October, we've decided to do 31 days and beyond of domestic violence awareness differently, where in the past we have spent so much time hearing stories. People tell their stories to give you the gut wrenching details,
Yeah.
and then that's what they leave you with. They
Yeah.
leave you with that. And so we decided to break that cycle of
Hmm.
telling stories of the incidents of the trauma. But now we're talking about telling stories of hope and perseverance.
I love it.
What happens beyond the wall of violence? What happens beyond that assault? What tools do you find effective? So those we spent that season in devising programs that were able to highlight processes and to
Wonderful.
do peer support with one another.
That's the counselor in you. I applaud you for that. That's
Yeah.
the minister in you. I applaud you for using your skills to help others. I know somebody's listening and probably asking, well, like how does somebody that knows this, you know the skills, how do you end up in such a situation where you have to become a victor?
For me, in most, but I'll talk about
Mm-hmm.
Tina. I can do
Mm-hmm.
that well. I realized later in life there was a crack in my foundation.
Ah.
And so, because I had not identified that crack, I continued to operate and function, not knowing it was dysfunctional. And so, identifying that there was a thing that hindered me from being aggressive in the areas that I should have been more assertive, I should say, of being successful in the areas because of shame and guilt,
Mm-hmm.
not dealing with those things was really robbing me of my identity. And
Wow.
being in a place where I had not faced the fact that I had to want to be out of a situation where I wanted to be in it. And I had not arrived there. And so getting to a place of surrender to the process that I was in, survivor mode, and there's so many layers to surviving that sometimes we settle in our survival for the sake of another day will come and I'll be able to do that. And so it took years, and I was in a 21-year relationship and
Mm,
marriage
mm.
and it wasn't every day was not abusive, but every day the fear of beyond the 10 years, the fear of wanting to leave, not knowing how, because of the shame, because
Yeah.
of the guilt, because of the judgment, the systemic judgment. Because
Mm-hmm.
even now, when we say domestic violence, it's still like, oh, why is she there? Why doesn't she leave?
Wow.
She's too smart for that. And women struggle with telling their truth and being
Yeah.
transparent because of the reaction that they're going to experience. And so
Mm.
getting to a place of knowing these things, experiencing myself, and being able to peer with someone else in that same place or different, but knowing what's necessary in the grief process, because we
Yeah.
don't talk about that with domestic violence. We don't
And
talk
and
about,
grief is not just when someone dies; it's when something
oh my
ends, or when
gosh,
you have to wrap something up, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we stay in a place sometimes because we grieve the process.
Yeah. I don't want to have to leave.
Yeah,
How many
starting
years?
over,
21
starting
years.
over. Yeah,
Yeah,
starting
like
over.
children. Our
Yeah,
families have
financial
connected.
support,
Yeah, it ain't
emotional
always that
support.
bad. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
all of the above.
Hmm. Wow. So
Yeah.
breaking it down like that, I see my ladies leaning in. Marlicia and Christine, y'all want to jump in?
Yes, but this is like from a different point of view, like where we tend to talk about the leaving, surviving, but it's so weird when we also can have family or friends around us in a twisted way condone it, like where they may be like, don't leave, it can be worked out, or what did you do to cause it? It's so weird that there's a whole nother side to this where some people actually are like, you can get through. It's like, don't leave, like this is your life, this is your world, y'all can work this out. And it's like, I'm dying over here, but there really are people who may not push you to leave that
Mm.
situation.
Christine, the first part of what she was hearing, whether she heard the latter part of what you were saying, could you give us a little bit of the
Oh,
first part again? That's on us in the studio.
I was saying it's so crazy that from the flip side of all of this, like where we talk about and discuss leaving and we talk about surviving and standing up for ourselves, it's crazy that there are people, friends and family who actually may condone this and say,
Yeah.
don't leave, or what did you do to cause this, or how can you fix it, like it's a you thing, and not understanding that this can absolutely be dangerous and toxic and I have to go, but they may put it on you.
Miss Tina.
Absolutely. Not just family and friends, but the church, the doctrine that you've been taught to protect you is also the doctrine also when it's taught faulty um, and taken out of context, it forces you to stay in a place because you can't leave your marriage.
Bye.
Yeah.
Out of
And
there.
so being in a place of not knowing one's self-worth, all of those things that you just referenced are things that keep a person in a place because there's a lack of support, there's a lack of guidance, there's a lack of tools sometimes their paths are protected because people that look like they're living one way publicly are they're dying privately because they don't want people to know their true story. And so what we've created in our setting is a non-judgmental place where you're able to just tell your truth. And that truth isn't always the details. The truth is, I want to know who I am, and I've been
Mhm.
robbed of that.
So on Saturday, this is where we will be speaking from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Marlicia, you got something?
Yeah, I just want to say that, even if you haven't been physically abused, be pay attention to the words that a person says to you repeatedly. That verbal abuse and that emotional abuse is, oh, it's traumatic. And if they can break you down from an emotional standpoint, from a mental standpoint, with their words verbally over and over and over again, that's a key sign that, physical abuse can follow. So, I know what it is to be verbally abused and emotionally abused. I know that firsthand. So I can recognize the signs, and I commend all women who do get out. I commend all women, just be encouraging. If that person is not yet ready to make that move, continue to encourage them. Continue to encourage them. Don't pressure them, but encourage
Thank you so
them.
much for that. So abuse can look different for different people. Sometimes it is physical, sometimes it's verbal, sometimes it's financial, it can be sexual, it can be emotional. It can just be low down. You just low down, and I don't want to be here anymore. And it doesn't just have to be women; it can be men as
Yes.
well, children. So I asked a question the other day about has somebody seen domestic violence before or something like that. I can't even remember where I was, but wherever I was at my job. I was at one of my jobs, and a young man. We were talking about Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and he was like, "Yeah." I laughed because I've seen it all my life. I'm a victim, and that spoke to his relationship with his father being volatile. That's domestic. That's within the same household. So I want to make sure that we don't neglect those conversations as well.
And I think, something Stud used to even talk about on the show. He used to talk about how he experienced, domestic violence, but he never really wanted to talk about it because he felt as a gay, and
Yeah.
especially as big as he was, it was like one of those things like everybody gonna believe a woman beating up on you or mentally abusing you or physically abusing you. But he was one of those dudes that was going through stuff like that. So I guess my question is people that are going through and are victors. What one of the things I found is from people that I've known that have gone through it is the mental recovery part of it. I was speaking with a young lady who was sharing her story about domestic victoring being a victor of domestic violence, and she was just telling me, she was like, "Said my head is messed up though, like I replayed how it went and how it happened, like what's wrong with me." And one of the things I was telling her is nothing wrong with you, like that's a part of human nature. You went through a traumatic event, so it's going to be sometimes where you're going to replay it and have flashbacks and feel some type of way. But what type of support what type of support is out there for people who need to mentally recover from the abuse that they experience?
Well, as I said, in our group, we have licensed therapists. And so we do have the real talk. And so we're able to coordinate you and speaking with them in one of those group settings we have these conversations where you're able to deal with deep rooted issues.
Okay.
Because what we find is oftentimes we spend so much time trying to change behaviors and never identify what produces a behavior. And so that's one thing that we do. And so the acronym for SOUL is SOLE, and it's survivors overcoming life experiences.
Mm.
And so we're looking for where's that little force that drives a behavior for you to submit in abusive settings under oppression. And so that's key. But I also want to add that oftentimes in this season, especially now, that's why we titled the theme of facing the epidemic in the pandemic, because we don't look at how social distancing is affecting individuals in abusive
Absolutely.
settings.
Absolutely.
And so if there's someone that's listening or not that you've identified that has not been engaging the way they used to, that have become kind of silent, that's not as active socially, they may be monitoring, may not have the opportunity to, that's someone that you want to reach out to.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to condemn on the isolation or what
Mhm.
you may assume they may be going to, but just to listen to what they're not saying and ask them to let you know when they need help and
Yeah.
be that non-judgmental ear that can be supportive in that respect. But absolutely, I believe for me, in having demonstrations in my childhood of abuse,
Mm.
my first observance of abuse was my grandmother as a 7-year-old child. And I remember that. I remember that gravely.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so not knowing how it would depict how I would communicate later, but to choose a submissive demeanor because of that,
Mhm.
because of the control. But having sons, 3 sons, and them having to overhear and to witness things, my son has taken the leg now where he'll be joining me in this venture,
Okay.
because
That's
Wonderful.
good.
he relates so well with it. He's got to a place of healing through many years of counseling to understand the power of opening your mouth to free others.
Hmm.
And so to share his story, because from the perspective of a child to a man, and understanding that it defined how he engaged too.
Right.
It defined how he engaged. It defined how he would combat certain situations or cower out. And so just having that freedom in this season, but he'll be joining, he's being trained now
Okay.
to be a facilitator in the
Okay.
group
Awesome.
for the men.
I
I-
know that was one of the things that we first talked about when the pandemic first happened was, but what
yes.
about people, whether it's kids or spouses or partners or whatever, they're in domestic situations.
Right.
Now they're being told you can't go anywhere, stay in your house. Like you don't have a reason to go anywhere else. So the outlets for school and the outlets for job or whatever that may have given them some type of freedom to get away from that abusive situation. Now they are confined to a space with their abuser for an extended period of time. So that's one of the first things that we thought about when, social distancing and, curfew that ain't a curfew and all that went into effect was how does that work out or how does that relate to, people who are being abused and maybe not abused to a severe standpoint, but I'm pretty sure with everything else going on, because you're thinking about people drinking more, people are doing drugs more, people are doing different things more because they have no other outlets, and abuse, the frequency or the severity of the abuse ramping up.
Absolutely. And it's one thing that we take much joy in making ourselves visible, accessible through small groups. And so we have many topics. Every other week we do something within a group, giving the opportunity for someone to engage, someone to speak, someone to hear something that may be encouraging, but also a tool to move forward. So that's key. Allowing yourself to connect with resources, and coming out of the isolation, to separate you from resources. That's key.
Wonderful. Oh, I thought Eddie was leaning in. All right. So there is so much information being provided, like just about these different topics, but the different areas that are often missed. And one of those would be the recovery.
Mm-hmm.
How to, like, okay, so I'm out of that particular situation. I'm looking to get into a new situation. And you mentioned restoration and recovery and resilience, reviving. I'm doing that, but I'm still stuck with the either the marks or the thoughts or I'm triggered by certain things. So just hearing that you all are capable and equipped to do that just warms my heart. I don't know why not, but there are two other licensed therapists in the room with you. So we really, 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 really applaud that part of it. And I know that I do because I'm in settings so often where I end up inserting that part of it. Like, well, let's look at this part. Let's think about it this way. That warms my heart. So
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to Saturday to hear more of that side of it. Um, how can people reach you if they want to speak out? And then said I did see your hand as soon as I said that.
Social media, social media. We're on all social media platforms. Soul Recovery LLC. The website is my name, tinathornton.com.
Okay.
You can find me there. But we're available. We even have a number listed, which I can't tell you from memory right now. It's a 723 number. It's on the page as well. But yeah, we're there. We're available. Message me, and we'll pair you up with someone.
One of the things I wanted to just kind of touch upon and just bring up and see if you had any insight or maybe some feedback on is people who are fleeing domestic situations. So someone that has been abused in their own home and make the decision, I don't want this person to come over here anymore, but that person doesn't go away. They are still making calls, sending text messages, showing up at the house, hoping to get in. What are some ways that people can, because they want to be removed from the situation, but it's the conflict of, I don't want this person to act up anymore, so I need to give in and let them in, or just to keep them, happy or at ease. But at the same time, I know that could potentially cause me to be abused or killed. But this person will not leave me alone. I called the police. Police don't come. Restraining orders take too long to get in place. What are some remedies or what some ways that people can deal with essentially harassment from from their abuser?
Document, document, document. use the system first, as you said. Call the police, do a PFA, protection from abuse. Do all of those things first. Look at relocating. I relocated.
Mm.
That's what helped me. I had to flee my home to relocate.
Is the PFA different than a restraining order?
The PFA, the difference, I can't tell you where the lines cross,
Gotcha.
but the PFA gives you that clearance till you go to court, and depending on the severity of the assault or the incidents, that person may be arrested
Okay.
until they go to court. So
Gotcha.
that varies in that area.
Okay. Okay.
That's awesome. Will there be officers or that division of services available on Saturday?
Yes. Also, we're having someone on virtual talk. We've been
Okay.
doing virtual talks on Facebook this week. We're going to have an officer tomorrow that worked for many years for Project Saved
Yes.
directly.
Yeah.
Dwayne Thompson will be on tomorrow.
Mhm.
He and I worked together through GVIP, through Gateway, facilitating years back.
Okay.
And so he'll be on tomorrow dealing with the abuser as well as the victim as well as the perpetrator to kind of share both mindsets. Because oftentimes we're talking about the victim's experience, but we don't talk to the perpetrator.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. What is it? What's your thing? What's your
Right.
why? That's an important conversation to have, and that'll be on your social media as
Absolutely.
well. All right. So yeah, y'all be sure to go ahead now. Y'all go on over there now. Soul Recovery, SOLE is where you should go. Soul Recovery, and then you can even just Google Tina Thornton and see her beautiful face, and also find out more information about them. So October 31st, which is Saturday, are people gonna be trying to wear costumes?
We're not doing that.
Okay. Well, I said, let me just go on ask, because you know.
Just go ahead and put out the
Yeah,
disclaimer
it's a
now. No
10:30
costumes.
warm up with I
Yeah.
Am with Dana Brown will be coming in and getting us prepared for the walk, and then we'll have the vigil shortly after that. And just want to acknowledge the lives that have gone before us and those that have survived.
Wonderful. So once again, the location is.
Patton Park, right off Tallapoosa Avenue.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna take a call right quick and see who this is. Caller, you're in with Vital right now. What you talking about?
Hey, Dr. Lady, how you
Hey,
doing?
I'm good. How are you? Are you listening to the show tonight?
Yeah, I just had a birthday yesterday.
Happy belated birthday. Are you a
Yeah,
Libra?
what about you? Yeah, what about you?
Oh,
Huh?
he's talking about you. He said you
Me?
had.
I thought he said he had one. Oh
I
yeah,
thought
mine.
he did too.
Mine was October 10th. Thank you so much. We are talking about all things October right now, so thank
That's
you for
funny,
that.
man.
No, that ain't funny, man. That's Sir said. Bye, man. That's one of our faithfuls, and we really appreciate his calls. Always on time, and always gets through. Miss Madison. But yeah, October is a big month for everything: breast cancer awareness, my birthday, and domestic violence awareness. Because I think that a lot of times we neglect the fact that being aware of and what it looks like, and what the behaviors you may be displaying that may be some of those perpetrative type behaviors. Like yeah, we don't talk about that enough. So that's what we're talking about right now with Miss Tina Thornton. So recovery, October 31st, which is Saturday. No costumes, guys. Warm up is at 10:30. Facing the epidemic in the pandemic, survivors walk in visual. All right. So we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back in just a few. Miss Tina, you want to hang around?
I can. Yes.
Hang around if you like. It's when I tell you a quick break, it's like this quick. Watch.
Okay.
So one of you guys can turn your phones to me because Miss Tina is on 2 cameras and I'm out. It was that quick. See? So like if you would have tried to get out and leave, you would have been still trying to get out. So welcome back to the show, everyone. Shouts out to all of you who are on social media. Thank you for your comments. Let me go over there and see who's in our virtual studio. Hold on a second. I see. Shouts out to Loretta. That's my Aunt KD. Yes, Kiana. Hey, Miss Brandy. Who else is over there? Shara. What's up, twin? So I see a couple people. Hey, everybody, make sure you comment, share the video so that those lights can be popping in the morning when you wake up. All of this great information. And who is this? Let's see who this is. Brianna. OMG. I was just randomly scrolling through channels and instantly recognized your voice. I was like, what? I'm late. Great empowering combo too. Thank you, Brianna. It is moi. So welcome to everybody who's coming in on the final half of the show, the final leg of Vital tonight. Our in-guest studio right now is Miss Tina Thornton with the Soul Recovery Soul Recovery LLC with an event on October 31st, 10:30 warm up. Just get there at 10:30. Facing the epidemic in the pandemic. That epidemic that we speak of is domestic abuse, domestic violence. And she gave us some of her personal story, but the perspective that we like the most is the part about recovery. That's the part that we like the most. So thank you so much for joining the conversation tonight with that information. Anything else you want to say to the audience?
Just to be mindful of the season that we're in, there's so many things that define how we engage with people. And a lot of people are hostile, they're
Yeah.
frustrated, they're discouraged. And someone that you may not understand what they may be encountering outside of the setting that you're in, but be mindful that person may be going through something,
Mhm.
and that may be a trigger for them. And just be sensitive to the needs of those that are around you that have a history of being in abusive relationships. The cycle you've seen that's been evident in how they engage with you or others or the partners they choose.
Yeah.
Give that consideration this season, because with the lock in, as I call it, people kind of reverting back to bad behaviors,
Mhm.
for the bay moment, for the opportunity to engage. They're lonely, not having as much social interaction. And so people are kind of falling into some unhealthy conversations right now that are leading to some things that are going to be abusive if
Mm.
they don't cap it off now.
Eddie, can we talk about that? Can we like jump into how this season is bringing about, I guess, awkward situations and maybe what people can do or like can we put a spin on that part of the conversation?
One of the most potent things that you said was that you realized that there was a crack in your foundation.
Mm.
And I think that discovering that comes with a lot of, introspection into self. And I think this season, being that we are spending a lot more times with ourselves than we have been able to, this is an opportunity for a lot of people to like look back on how we became who we are. Looking back to all the way back to your past, to how your relationship with your parents were, to what you saw in your parents' relationships. How did they interact? Were they engaged? Was it positive? Was it negative? Did you
Yeah.
grow up in a single parent household and you split the two households that were decent, two households that was bad, one that was good, one that was bad? A lot of those things are going to be what create the predispositions that we have that we actually live through. And
Mm.
so, I mean, this season is an opportunity for you to sit back and think. Another thing is like writing through your experience. Write that out. These things are taking up space in your mind, and it's hard to process them when they're just in your mind in the same place that the process needs to go on.
Right.
So sometimes you need to put that in a different place, be able to see it in order to acknowledge that it was actually real and it was something you experienced. I think that's, a part of how you can take advantage of this moment for, looking into yourself and just discovering where some of those cracks in our foundations might be.
Yeah, I like that. Christina, are you adjusting to speak? Oh, okay.
Yeah, sure.
What you got?
What I did want to add was like how you were talking about when you're the one affected, but it's not how people may think. Like with it being from the woman's standpoint, where I've witnessed a lot of abuse in the past, but it caused me to have anger management issues. It caused me to lash out, where really I became like the abuser. It was like, my goodness, not realizing, you would think, oh, it's me that's being abused and all, when really I was terrible at one point, and you have to be able to admit that, where, okay, what characteristics or things that I, get from my past experiences
Yes.
or things that I saw, and to be able to admit it. And then that side of recovery, that side of being able to, oh crap, sorry everyone, that side of being able to heal, it's like, man, where you're not the one that is unhealthy and
Right.
toxic. We hate to throw that
Like,
word around, but for you to be that person.
Yeah, knowing when it's you
Right.
and when you contribute to a toxic relationship. Like, yeah, I think about that as well. Naomi just had a comment, just said that this has been a season of true introspection for all of us. Basically, we've had time,
Mhm.
and if we're individuals who are uh aware in any way, we've used this time for that. Well, like, let me see what's up with me. So our past relationships and past experiences, it may not have started at the part of our foundation with our parents or our family, our familiar relationships, but more about how we may have had that one crazy relationship that made us create
Mhm.
these horrible coping skills and bad traits. And so now, okay, I pack that in my bag and I take it on each relationship I go to, and it doesn't mix with this relationship. So now this one is volatile. So we do really, really have to pay attention to what we're bringing to the table as far as, bad traits and toxic behaviors. Thanks, Christine, for sharing that.
Um,
Absolutely. And there are times when you'll find when you're in a space of toxicity in a relationship long term, there's a role reversal, and you do become maladaptive. You
Yeah.
do, that is very true.
Marlicia?
In survival mode.
Absolutely.
I
Survival
was just
mode. That's
gonna
the mode.
I was just going to piggyback off of something Eddie said about writing through your experience, and self introspection is very, very important. And writing is very therapeutic. And I found that when I started my blog, Love Marlicia, it was all about my personal self love journey. God told me, you don't love yourself the way that you're
Mm,
supposed to. You don't love yourself the way that I love you. And you need to love on the level that I love you. So I need you to take this journey. But in taking this journey, it's a testimony. And I want people to read about it because they need to know this. And so self preservation is okay. A lot of times people push you to give of yourself, give of your time, give of this, give of that. But sometimes you have to reserve that for yourself. Okay. Sometimes you have to take that journey and you have to have some selfishness about you. You have to choose to love you more. And I just want to encourage women, men, children, whomever it may be going through that, choose to love you more. It is very important. It is very vital for you to have some form of self-preservation.
It's
all right.
necessary.
All right. Well said, sister. So on Saturday, this event is one that, most times when we're a part of events that are awareness about something, they can be very solemn and very just like, oh wow, this for a Saturday afternoon. But when I hear recovery, that excites me. That makes me feel like, okay, this might be the move to get people really ignited about next steps, what to do next, how to respond, connected to resources and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to being a part of this great event. I'll be conducting the stage at a certain point during the event, um and also just encouraging at every opportunity that I get and bringing that vital piece that Miss Tina has entrusted me with. So give us just a rundown of what people can expect when they arrive and what will be happening on Saturday.
We'll start the warm up, like I said, with I Am with Dana Brown, and we'll get you pumped up, start walking. In that process, you'll see signs along the way on your journey to tell you about some aspects of domestic violence. You'll see signs that kind of provoke your thought about things that you overlook sometimes in your own engagement. Once we return back to the actual program of it, you're going to hear some awakening, not a testimony on I was shot 4 times. I'm not downplaying that, any
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
But what I did when I scaled the wall,
Mhm.
what did I do? What tools did I use? Who's helped me? Who was there to support me? What was beneficial to my recovery today? And so we'll have two speakers speaking on that, but we'll have people from the city of Birmingham as well as the judicial system talking about how in the courtroom, what they find to be beneficial for individuals that are stuck in a cycle that they see repeatedly. So those things are important for those that identify themselves as having some experience in the arena of domestic violence and those that don't identify,
Yeah.
but we want to awaken them. The whole gist of it is just to awaken you to see domestic violence differently. Now, oftentimes when you hear people talking about their survivor of domestic violence, it's all the details, but you don't get the process, you don't get the tools, you don't get the resources. Um, and so we want to break that cycle and giving a story of hope and perseverance to exit that relationships with the proper tools and a safety plan.
All right. I'm loving that. I always have to plan ahead. So planning how you'll move forward, networking with people who have scaled the wall, people who have made the move, getting that encouragement and motivation. That is what Saturday is all about. So thank you so much for coming in with us this evening,
Thank you for
bringing
having
your
me.
great energy about soul recovery this coming Saturday. No costumes, people. Are you asking that they wear purple or anything like that?
Purple. We have t-shirts that are available on the website as
Okay.
well. If they want to purchase one, we can get one to them.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what it is, everybody. Saturday is the day for this. So we just heard from one organization that said that their walk, they had to go a different route because COVID was really just like roaring through. But right now, as time progresses, people are feeling a little bit more comfortable, and some have already had and built up those antibodies, and social distancing will be in place still. So masks are still a thing. Wear your mask. All right, those are required, she said. So be sure to follow those directions of protecting yourselves during COVID, but do show up, do support. And if people want to get in touch and give and support, how can they do that?
Um, on again on the Facebook page, there
Hmm.
is a donate button that we can utilize there, as well as cash out. The support group is called His Real Gym, and it's survivors building worth beyond abuse. And so they can go there to His Real Gym, a dollar sign His Real Gym, and then there's a donate button on that page as well as on the website.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us tonight. You are absolutely welcome. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday. We are about to jump into the last part, the top 10, the 10 minutes that will lead us into our week. So, this is the setup for the rest of the week where we talk about what's happening politically, what you all need to be ready for, what needs to be happening. So, who has voted yet that's a part of the crew? Okay, me. Great. So I did. I went ahead just because I was eager. I went ahead and went October 3rd. So the day that I was able to get out of quarantine, I went to the county courthouse and I stood in line. And that was my first time ever voting absentee. Why did I do absentee? Because I was eager. I ain't want to play around with it. I don't want to waste no time. I want to see change immediately, even though they can't open it until the third. Here it is. It's sealed. It's notarized. I signed it, made sure everything was done properly, and dropped it in the box. I put it in the box, and yeah, don't play with it. So, what are you all? Are you all gonna wait until November 3rd?
I voted absentee.
Yeah, I'll
Oh,
be
you did.
voting November 3rd.
Okay, so Christine is voting November 3rd. Eddie said he voted absentee. Marlicia, are you waiting or are you going ahead?
I'm debating. I've printed out the absentee form, so I may do absentee.
Okay.
I may go. I haven't decided.
So yeah, help me. Let's talk about this part of it though, like the 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 super high energy surrounding early voting. Like, is it because we just want Trump out? Is it because we're afraid that there may be a spike in COVID in the next 14 days? Is it that we just want Biden in? Like, what is it that's driving people to vote early this time?
I think there's already a spike going on. Is number one, uh, but also I think that there are so many questions about the mail system
Hmm.
and uh, ballot boxes are being blown up and
Like literally blown
they're
up.
being
That's
blown
crazy.
up and so many other things are going on that's just even talking about like these militia groups that's talking about
Hmm.
coming to the polls on the ninth. Even Trump just giving out an all call for y'all should watch them at like I don't even, not to mention that this population is generally the not wearing a mask population. Like some people with COVID gonna be in that place,
For sure.
you know. And voting absentee was painless, and it was early, and it accommodate that all of those things that I don't want to potentially be a part of on the third.
Right. Sir said the question was, have you voted early? Did you hear the question? You probably
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
What you think? What did
So
you do?
I have yet to vote early. I am planning to vote early simply because I don't know what I'll be doing on election day due to my job. So
Hmm.
I don't want to take the risk of being here, there, and everywhere else, or possibly not be, even being in the state and taking that chance and missing out on the opportunity to vote. Something, an article one of somebody on my team sent me from BuzzFeed News
Hmm.
is that voters in Alabama's largest county could have their ballots thrown out after a court ruled instructions they
I
were
saw
sent
that.
are no longer valid. So there are groups now fighting to make sure those ballots remain active or valid
And it was
ballots.
something about the notary part of it.
Yeah. So there are a number of issues that's going on with that. Hopefully, when North Carolina opened up their first day of early voting, they said 11% of the state had already voted, and that was on day one of early voting. I think with the pandemic, people trust voting in person more than they trust putting up something in the mail and sending it off.
Yeah.
So even though it's in Alabama, it's absentee voting, you're still voting in person in essence. So I can look at my ballot being placed in the envelope, and I place it in the envelope and seal it and place it
In
in
another
in
envelope.
another envelope that goes into a box that will be placed in a vault, with those envelopes being placed in a vault until 7 a.m. on election day when they'll start being counted. So I think that's why you're seeing it. In a sense, I hate to say it, but it's become a trendy thing to
It
vote
has.
early.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go vote early. Oh yeah, what people, and it's a good thing because people are now making it into a party and making it into events. What I hope this leads to in the next, year or two for Alabama is that what we have real early voting, not the absentee go stand in line at a courthouse, but no, where polling places actually open up, 10 days out from the election or so, and people can actually go vote in person and put their, ballots in, because that'll be a
Right.
lot less work on the county registrar's office, because now they don't have to worry about counting ballots the day of. The ballots are already being counted, and it's
Right.
just a matter of, printing out the ticket and posting on the door with the results.
Because they're gonna have a lot to count this time. And I'm like, man, if this has to be hand counted, they gotta open 2 envelopes. They got a lot of work to do.
And another part to add to that is a lot of people remember, at least in Georgia, between Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp, that people was out there for 6 hours.
Yeah.
It
You
just
know,
happened
And it's gonna be the same
yesterday.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the same thing.
They created a system that forced people to be out there that long because they removed a lot of polling options for people. And so we can't discount that a lot of legislation is hinging on trying to reduce a lot of the voting population.
Right.
Yeah.
Because polling places, have been shut down. Areas that had 6 to 8 polling locations now have 1, and everybody's supposed to go to that. Who wants to do that? Like, I think it's important for everyone to literally have a voting plan. I am only free from this time to this time on election day. So that means I need to be at the polls at this time so I can be done at this time and be somewhere else. Perfect example of that.
Mhm.
Chris Campbell, who's been on Dr. Fluent, who's been on our show before, he's one of the woke vote ambassadors.
Okay.
So this is his first time voting in an election. So we met up yesterday, go down to early vote at Jefferson County Courthouse, met him about 10 or so, walked in, filled out the application beforehand. Poor People's Campaign was out there passing out applications, helping people fill it out. Got his application, got in line, let him borrow my umbrella. I went and set up shop in an office nearby. And he had an event to be at 1 that he was supposed to be hosting.
Yeah.
So about 12:30, 12:45, hey man, how's it looking? Well, I'm inside the building. I'm number 600, and I think it said something. And he was like, but we're only on 504. Like he was on 679, and they were only on
So
number
in an
504.
event like that, what do you do? Do you stay? Do you go?
Well, he had to leave because he had somewhere to go to. So he had an event he had to go to that he ended up running behind on trying to vote. But that was one of the things he talked about. He did not have a plan. He did not plan on taking that long or needing to devote that amount of time to be able to go vote. So we're gonna try to do it again on election day. But I told him, hey man, we're gonna have to be like down here first.
Day. Yeah.
Huh?
Try before election day.
Hey, yeah, I'm gonna have to give
that's
him
what we've been
something.
preaching. We've been preaching that have a plan. We just
Yes.
said have a plan for everything that you do. I'm not a planner. I just kind of go with the flow. You can do that with your other, with what you're grocery shopping for or what your outfit is going to be for work tomorrow. But when it comes to matters of livelihood, like this could be life or death. This could be, this is vital. You need a plan.
Yeah, and
You need a plan.
and
Period.
if you've already voted, and see, this is the beauty of voting early. Now you're free to do stuff. So
Yeah.
now, if you need to take somebody to the polls, you can take them to the poll.
Mhm.
If you need to be a poll worker or a poll watcher, you can do that because you've already voted. So now you can be active with helping people make sure they get to the polls and vote. You can be the person out there. You and your child can go out there and start passing out water,
Yeah.
towels or snacks or just different stuff. So voting early allows you to be in the process or in the game on election day. I know it's some stuff that we're going to be doing at polls, like having DJs and having giveaways and stuff like that, because now it's voting. I think people are understanding the importance of voting. And even if they don't understand, I'm comfortable with them going with voting as a trend for now, because it's the trendy, popular thing to do. And
But
then
in the process, educate.
exactly, we'll educate you during the process. So when the elections happen in Birmingham in 2021 and then statewide in 2022, we can bring you.
It's about registration and education. I don't want to just get you registered to vote and then you never hear from us again, or you don't know what to do next. You get the little card in the mail. You don't know where that poll. You don't even know where that is. You don't know. Well, if I fill out a Democratic ballot and I just put straight Democrat, like, well, I don't know if I need to go through. I hadn't looked at the amendments yet. Yeah, that's what this is. That's what voter
we're gonna talk
registration
about that
and education is.
Yeah.
So we have one more Sunday before November 3rd. Yeah, it came super quick, but we're gonna have you prepared. If you are those people that already know you've already handled your business, don't be afraid to talk to those in your area or around you who may not be those people. So your grandsons, your nephews, your cousin, your homegirl that's indecisive, your homegirl's boyfriend that says that his new religion won't allow him to vote, your baby daddy that says that, hey, I'm a felon, I don't know if I can. Your church member that says, well, I ain't voted in a couple of elections because my vote doesn't count. Now it's your turn to talk to them directly and say, look, ain't nobody got time to play with you. Okay. Like that. I want you to say it like that. Ain't nobody got time to play with you. I want you to say it just like that. Okay. Marlicia, practice that. Say it for me.
Ain't nobody got time to play with you.
Perfect.
Hey, put it on the soundtrack.
Christine, let me hear that. Tell them.
Ain't nobody got time to play with you.
Straight like that. Miss Tina.
Ain't nobody got time to play with you.
See, straight like that. We need to get some shirts made. Said I need you on that.
Bruh,
Ain't nobody got time to play with you.
Yeah.
Eddie, let me hear it in a man's voice.
Nobody got time to play with you.
Love it. Nobody has time to play with you,
Bruh,
okay?
sis, sweetheart, bam, cuzzo,
Big
Kimbo.
head.
Ain't nobody got time
Ain't
to play
nobody
with
got
you.
time to play with you, okay? We are like in a situation that you see what's happening every day. Like everybody that I know is finding their homeostasis in any cracking corner that they can. We're all trying to find balance the best way we can. One way that you can start is by using your voice.
Yes.
If your voice is your vote, use it. If you're, that's in one situation. That can be that thing. But in your household, using your voice, using your words, using your, saying it with your chest. Y'all was talking about my chest earlier, but I'm a graphic tee type of chick because y'all gonna look at it, right? I'm gonna wear that. I'm gonna say it with my chest. It's gonna say Vital Vote. Graphic tee every day, right?
I know, right? I got a Vote Now shirt. Yeah, I was just
we got shirts for days, and if I need to be professional, I'm gonna put on a blazer.
Shout
right?
out to the post office. Go ahead and get it. Hey, if you are gonna mail in your ballot, mail it in tonight, tomorrow, like for real, to make sure it gets there on November 3rd. If it doesn't get there on November 3rd, they're not gonna count it.
Mm-hmm. So get it in. Ain't nobody got time to play with you. Any other thoughts? Any recap your event for tomorrow?
So the event tomorrow is Do It for Breonna, the rally and the canvassing event. The rally takes place at 16th Street Baptist Church tomorrow at noon, featuring Tamika Palmer and Birmingham's own DeWanna Thompson, amongst many other special guests that we'll have speaking. We'll march from the rally to the Jefferson County Courthouse so people can early vote. We'll have a turn-up session out there, encouraging people to stay in line and thanking them for voting. And then we will transition over to the Gate City Community Center at 4 o'clock to do a canvassing effort from 4 to 6 p.m. over in Gate City, knocking on doors. So bring your friends, family, frat brothers, sorority sisters, all those involved. The Gate City Community Center address is Kimberly Avenue and 66th Street South. So we want to see everybody out there, and let's do it for Breonna, man, because everything that has to do with her case can tie back to an elected official.
Yeah.
Even the police chief was appointed by the mayor, which is an elected official. So all these different things tie into voting. So, man, let's do it for Breonna. Let's turn up. Let's show Miss Palmer how Birmingham does things, and let's give DeWanna a good homecoming before she's back off on the road advocating for us and making sure people get out to the polls on November 3rd.
For sure. And speaking of elected officials, I will be sitting down with the mayor of the city of Birmingham on tomorrow evening on social media. So you don't even have to come anywhere. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to get a ride. You don't have to put your shoes on. You don't have to put your clothes on. You don't have to do anything. But click on City of Birmingham on Facebook tomorrow evening and watch the conversation. It's a real time, real talk conversation. So you can just get in there, you can post your comments, and Mayor Randall and I are going to have a great conversation as we always do. But we are going to ask some tough questions and talk about the things that we have all been asking about and wanting to know about. So honestly, if you want to get in any early questions, you can inbox me or you can email me. I am ladywoo@yahoo.com or watch woo work at gmail.com. Either or just put them on Lady Woo on Facebook.
Tell the man I said what's up, man. We ain't seen him in
I
a minute,
know.
so
So quick story, just to let you know, he is always thinking about us. I hit him up. We had COVID, like the half of the radio station had COVID, and he called. Well, I don't know how it went. Oh yeah, so it was during COVID, and he said during my COVID,
yeah.
he said, yeah, it's been a minute. Get with my people. Cool. So we got with the people. We set up a day. He set up the day and I got with the people, but I didn't feel like doing it that day. I was like, I think it would be more effective if we wait until I'm recovered and we're back in studio so we can do it like old times. So before that could happen, got a call and they said, well, hey, we want to flip it. The mayor wants you to host him in conversation or to interview him on his turf. I said, well, cool. We can do that. It doesn't change the tone of the conversation.
Hey, if it's 7
It's
o'clock,
still vital.
I hope they got dinner for you or something like a
Man.
little food pass or something going on. That's dinner time.
I figure it out. We've been on the move like all COVID. Either it's been virtual or we've been in places. So I think this is one of the first ones where I actually get to go to the place where our guest is. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys will join in the conversation. If you have any questions, like I said, go ahead and submit them early and we'll ask him. He is in position to assist. A lot of people don't like some of the decisions that he's made, budget included, furloughs included, but having a conversation a lot of times will help you better understand why things are done, if nothing else. So just tune in for that.
Yeah, and I think people also have to understand the mayor has so much power, but the city council has all the power. So the
All
mayor
the power,
so
huh?
the mayor can suggest the budget, but if the city council doesn't vote for that budget and makes their own, so I know everybody wants to give the mayor some flack, but at the same time, holler at your city council folks because ultimately they're the ones that approve all purchases, all anything having to do with finances or spending. The city council approves that. So ultimately, Mayor Wolfen can propose things in a budget, but the city council either ratifies that or changes that. So don't put it all
Elected
on him.
officials.
Exactly. Don't
Right.
put
Know
it
who
all
you're
on him,
voting
man.
for. Thank you, Sad. So know who you're voting for. 2021 will be the time for that again. So go ahead and groom you a candidate if that's what you're trying to do
Hey,
to sit in those city council seats. I mean,
2021 will be here. I mean, in the next
in a few days.
yeah, in
Okay.
the next month or so, it'll be 2021.
Well, it's almost time for us to go, like in a few
For
seconds.
real?
Just like that. Good night, guys. It's been real. Have a great week, and we'll see you at some of these events we've been talking about. And if not, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. for Lady Woo's Midday Groove right here on V94.9 WATV. Be vital.
I left your tea in the car.